In the last episode, you saw us exploring Dominica, then we set sail for Martinique. In this episode, new crews start to arrive, we score some waves in Martinique, and Marty finally gets to meet his siblings. Okay, so I've just got back from a 2-week stint on the super yachts, and in the meantime, Maria's been feeding Marty every day and loving him and caring for him.
And also he's back and I'm still feeding Marty, I'm still loving him.
But me and Marty had a special bond before I left. Maria says that he loves her more than he loves me now, so we're going to try sort this out now once and for all. So we're going to put Marty down, I'm going to go to one side of the boat, Maria's going to go to the other side, and we're going to see who he runs to. This could be pretty depressing. Marty! Marty! No! Oh.
You don't say anything, see where he goes. That's true now.
You gotta say
Good boy,
You just have to go to the toilet.
Alright, let's do for second place. Me versus Deuce.
What do you mean by second place?
He clearly loves her the most.
1, 2, 3, Marty.
Oh no!
Oh, it's a no-brainer.
So, it's Sunday the 8th of July, 2018. And we were anchored in Fort de France in Martinique. We've just moved down to Le Marin in the south of the island because there was meant to be a hurricane coming. Hurricane Beryl, but it got downgraded to a tropical storm, so we're still expecting winds of about 50 knots, they reckon, but it's going to hit Dominica and Guadeloupe way worse than here. But so we've just wrapped up the sail bag and put the surfboards inside and fishing rods and everything like that. Anything that could get blown away we've put inside. We've got engines ready to start up, we got all of our anchor chain out. It's super eerily calm at the moment, so this is obviously the calm before the storm. The storm's meant to hit around 2 AM tonight, so I've set my little anchor watch app and that's going to tell me if I'm dragging. And there's a bunch of boats around, there's hundreds of boats here. This is kind of a bit of a hurricane shelter apparently, so I was pretty nervous. I was in Florida doing a charter on a super yacht, and then I was meant to stay there this week and I was going to pick up a water maker and stuff like that, but because it was a hurricane at the time, I jumped on the next flight down to Martinique, so I got back last night. Hurricane Beryl turned out to be nothing more than a stiff breeze up in Dominica, and the highest winds we saw in Martinique was 10 knots. Nevertheless, it was a bit of an eye-opener regarding cruising in the Caribbean during hurricane season. The unpredictability of a hurricane makes it difficult to find the best strategy to avoid a catastrophe, and the last thing we would want is to put Parlay through another hurricane. So we're here in Martinique, and Martinique doesn't have any propane. They don't use propane, they use butane. Anyway, so instead of like buying a whole new butane setup, we're only here for like a month. Did a bit of research and most people said you can just hook a butane bottle straight up to your propane cooker and it'll work. So we're trying it out now. The only thing we had to buy was the new regulator for the butane bottles, and these little nozzles which are butane nozzles for the burner. So we're about to try it now. But if this works, it's not a bad system. The bottle costs €55 and then the gas in it was €18, so for 70 something euro, we've got a butane setup. So if we go to like French countries, we can use the butane setup. Everywhere else uses propane, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Flies, eh?
Winner.
How's it going, bro? How's your flight?
Yeah, good. Jamie.
All good?
Nice to meet you.
Hi, Maria.
Jamie, nice
Marty.
to meet you. Marty, how are you, mate? seen him a couple of times.
So I'm Jamie from Australia. Why I chose to come was to get experience on the water.
And so what were you doing before?
I was working back in Australia in communities, but I'd recently been travelling South America for 4 months before I come on here. Travelling around's always been one of my things. And then I was meant to be going to Fort Lauderdale and that to try and get a job on the super yachts, but haven't made it that far yet.
So you've fallen in love?
No, don't put that shit on. I don't know what we're going to do if we do get a marlin. It's quite difficult to fish on a sailing boat. You don't have the opportunity to go forward and backwards. It's mostly just going forwards.
So yeah, so you're used to fishing off motorboats?
Yeah, where you're in full control. In the next week or so the lobster season opens, so that's going to be another thing for me.
Yeah. You ever caught a lobster before?
Not by hand, no.
What have you caught them with?
We haven't really caught them.
Jamie had one thing on his mind, fishing, so we quickly put him to work in order for us to leave Martinique and get some lures in the water.
So what's happening here, mate?
Oh, a lot of we don't know what.
Trying to build shelves.
Excited for today?
And how did we meet this guy? Oh, through Sandy from St. Kitts. She said she knew some people in Martinique, so she sent us his Facebook, and turns out he's an ex-pro surfer. His name's Jason Apparicio, and he said he's going to take us surfing today, so we packed our boards and going to try to score some waves.
Yeah. That's him.
What's up, boys?
What's up, brother?
How you doing?
It's my go-to place. It's the most consistent. There's a beach break here where you can get like little chilies.
Yeah.
And then there's a nice little right-hand point break up in here.
Sick.
And there's like little beachy here too.
Yeah, that works.
Nobody.
You seem amped.
Yeah, man. I've been doing this for over 30 years and I'm always amped doing it. Take Maria down there for a lesson.
Jason ended up hanging out with us for a few days and showed us some of Martinique's different surf spots. It was a pleasure hanging out with someone with such a love for the ocean, and he was a genuine, humble guy. We wish him all the best in training some of Martinique's young surfers to try compete at the Olympics.
You excited again?
I'm always excited.
Well, we're super excited because we're about to take Marty to meet his brother and sister, who were also found in the same cave. But Marty's super scared of any other dog, so hopefully he's not scared of his own brother and sister. We'll find out.
I was scared of my own brother and sister when I saw them again.
Marty, get amped. Get amped, Marty. This is your big day. Marty, who's that?
Hey, amigo, brother.
Turns out Marty was terrified of his siblings, and it was crazy to see the size difference between them. Marty was found in a cave 2 weeks after his brother and sister were found, and being malnourished for that much longer has resulted in him being around 2/3 the size of his siblings. So we stayed for dinner to let Marty try become friends with his long lost siblings, and what a delicious dinner it was.